I am live. That's right. I don't know if we have anyone in here yet. I'm still figuring this out. Give me a second. How do I get the comments up? There you go. We are live. We should be sounding good. We messed with this last time, and now we should be able to do it. So, welcome, everybody, to the live stream. It has been a little bit since I was live, and we will be doing this because I am going to be leaving for a little bit. Oh, hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. I am going to be going to Korea. I addressed it in the most recent podcast. I have not uploaded yet the most recent podcast. I just got done recording it right now. It's about 30 minutes. It is me talking about going out of the country, and it is also about a lot about Thomas Massey. So that will be uploaded probably tomorrow. I just got done recording it. It's getting ready to go. But we can talk about whatever you want, and I'll probably say the same things anyway. But I did want to do that and get it out there so that we have something that people can listen to in their ear or whatever else. Because not everyone, watches a live stream. Live stream is like a very different place for everybody. You know what I mean? I am going to Korea. I'm going to Korea in 2 days or in a day and a half. The reason I am going is because I need to get surgery on my arm. What happened is that if you did not watch it, I put up a video talking about it, and I basically broke my wrist. It is broken in two places, or both bones of my wrist are broken. The ulvar or the vulvar or whatever that shit's called. The vulvar is broken, and then the radial, which is the bigger one, that is pretty shattered. It is pointed in the wrong direction. I am off by like 40 degrees or something. It is pretty bad. And I need to go get surgery done. For those that are not aware, I discussed this in the previous kind of video that I put up, but I do not have health insurance currently. It's the first time in 20 years I don't have health insurance. And for that like 3-week gap that I don't have it because the new one hasn't kicked in yet, happens to be when I broke my wrist. The vulva. Is that right? Vulva? It sounds like something else. But the surgery, it's going to be in the United States. I talked to an orthopedic surgeon. They say it will cost anywhere from 50 to 60 grand to do this surgery, which is fucking a lot of money to do surgery on my arm. My wife's family is from Korea, and that ulna, that's right, the ulna. Ulna's both are broken. Ulna and radius are broken. But my wife's family is in Korea. They have made arrangements for me to go to the hospital and surgeon in Korea. And the cost of surgery in Korea is less than $6,000. It's under $6,000 for me to do it overseas. It's 60 grand for me to do it here. So I'm going to fly out there, do it there. And I don't know what's going to happen when I get there. So I'm going to Korea in order to get my surgery done. And I'm going to be out there. I don't know how long I'm going to be there, actually. I have a one-way ticket out there, and I don't know what I'm going to do when I'm out there. I do know that I'm going to do the surgery. And since I'm out there, I'm thinking about spending a little bit of time there. I don't actually have a plan on what I'm going to do when I get out there. It's one of those things where, I think that everything in life happens for a reason. And for some reason, last Saturday, I broke my wrist. And I found out that it is 90% cheaper to do my surgery overseas. So, and then my wife's family said, oh, we'll make all the arrangements. Just show up. We'll call the hospital. We'll get everything set up for you. All you got to do is arrive here. So I'm going to Korea. And I don't know what I'm going to face. I don't know what I'm going to run into. But in my mind, it's an opportunity. For what? No clue. But if I go out there, something will happen. I feel it in my heart that something is supposed to happen. So I'm going to go out there and I'm just going to let whatever is going to happen, happen. I feel like most things in my life, that's actually how I live my life. Most people don't know, but I actually just have these feelings of like I'm supposed to do it. and then I do it. That's pretty much how every single decision in my life has ever been made. When I first did this podcast, when I first made my very first episode, I said, my wife, I was yelling at the TV. My wife comes running downstairs. You're going to wake up your baby. Go tell someone that cares. And I said, huh? And that's what I did. And I made my first episode. I said, Google, how do you do a podcast? And that's how I started. So, hold on. Shit blows, ban me, or receive my wrath pansies. Oh, ban. How about that? Idiot. Ask for a ban, I'm just going to ban you because I won't ban anyone unless they ask for a ban. And if you ask for a ban, I'll just ban you because you asked for it. Because, I'm very accommodating. So, yeah. So, most things in my life, it's like a gut feeling and you just go and you do it. And I think that's the best way to do things. Like you just figure it out and you don't know unless you try things. And I'm always willing to try something new and try a new experience. And so I got this opportunity to go to Korea and I have to go. Well, I don't have to go, but I'm going to save $50,000 by doing it. So I'm going to go. And if there was ever a good opportunity to go, it's to save 50 grand. And I'm going to go. And I'm going to take my camera with me. I'm going to take a mic with me. I'm going to record from Korea. So I'm going to continue to do the podcast because I committed to you guys that I will do the podcast. It happens to be that as this podcast started back up, that I broke my wrist. It is what it is. But I will take you guys on the journey with me. So if you guys want to see what Korea is like, I think it's going to be a cool opportunity. I'm going to go into Seoul a little bit. I'm going to be in the outskirts a little bit also. And yeah. So if you guys want to see what things cost like in another country, what it's like in another country, we're going to podcast from Korea. I'm going to try to find some people out there to collab with. I'm going to try to find some like American GIs to collab with, get their view on what's going on in the world. So I'm going to go and I'm going to record in Korea while I'm there, while I'm getting my surgery. How did I break it? If you go back to the previous video, I made a video talking about how I broke my wrist so I don't have to address it over and over again. But for the stream, I'll say it one time. I broke it fixing my daughter's bed. I fell over. There is a rail. I flipped the rail, cut underneath my legs. I fell backwards. And I landed in the most awkward way and it shattered my wrist. And yes, I broke my arm fixing a 3-year-old's bed. It is what it is. It sucks. I wish I had a cooler story. I don't. If you guys want to say, oh, that's so stupid, you're a pansy, fuck you, eat a dick. I don't care. It's what happened. So, yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is. Let me see. How'd you break it? Let me see. G7 expects South Korea and Japan to be extension of the 5 advanced surveillance states. Yeah, South Korea has a lot of surveillance already, and I'll point it out when I get there. I think there's a lot to learn from Korea and America because a lot of things that happen in Korea first happen in America later. That's just the trend. It's always that way, from technology to trends to social cues to the way surveillance apparatus works, because Korea is such a small country and so many people live in a very small, densely populated area. And everyone is so engulfed in technology that you get to see what the effects of certain technologies or certain things are before you see it in America, because America is so large. So every time I go, I notice some things. Last time I went to Korea, I said, hey, look, they're building 15-minute cities. Hey, look, they're putting cameras on every street corner. Hey, look, they're giving you option to pay in cash versus paying credit for your coffee. And we're seeing that now. I said that 3 years ago, last time I went. If you guys go back to my episode that when I came back from Korea, you'll be like, holy fuck, he was right about all of it. Yeah, I'm kind of good at this. So we will notice some more things when we go over there and we'll point them out and you get to see them together. So we'll do that. When your daughter is a teenager, you can pull that card out that you broke your wrist for her and had traveled to the other side of the world to get it fixed. I will totally use this story when my daughter is old enough, and I will be like, look at what daddy did for you. And I will not let her live it down because my wrist will probably never be the same. It's fine. It is what it is. I can't think about it. Although last night I'm laying in bed And for the first time, I'm starting to like feel how this cast is around my arm. And I kind of had this moment of panic. I don't know if you've ever had this before. And I've never had this feeling before. But I'm laying there and I'm like, I can feel like every inch of this cast around my arm and I'm feeling imprisoned. And for the first time, I got like anxious. And I'm not an anxious person. And I'm saying like, fuck, this is like on me now when I get it off. And it's like, I was like, oh, fuck. I can't believe I did this. But again, through tragedy comes opportunity. Through chaos comes opportunity. And I'm very optimistic about what's going to be in the future moving forward. And I think it's going to be really cool. I think whatever the next chapter of my life is, I think we're on the journey to find that out together. So I'm super excited that you guys are going to come with me, that I'm going to take you guys with me, because it's going to be pretty wild. Hopefully you can show us the Korean border with the North. Yeah, I think I can do that. I'll go to the DMZ and I'll show you guys what it's like. Actually, I know a couple North Korean defectors in Korea. True story. And the one guy that I've met before in the past, he used to work. His name is I can't think of his name. It's a Korean name. So I'm really bad with Korean names. He used to work for Kim Jong-il's propaganda department. So he was a propagandist for the North Koreans. And his job was to take the news from the outside world and rewrite it so that North Koreans can consume it. And I happened to meet him one day. So maybe I'll reach out to him. Maybe we'll go meet him. Maybe we'll go say hello. Like, that would be cool, wouldn't it? To meet, like just get a full picture of what that really is like. Because he literally lived on the North. So I always find that conversation really fascinating. Come back with a bionic arm. If they put a metal plate in my arm, then maybe they'll put like metal. Maybe I'll convince them to put like metal plates in my knuckles, and I'm just gonna start dropping fools. That'd be cool. You know what I mean? Let's see what we got here. I'm just going through comments now. I just wanted to get on a thing. Need to smoke weed. I don't smoke weed. I haven't smoked in a very long time. Let me see. What do you think about Dan Bilzerian? What do you think about Dan Bilzerian? I don't hate Dan Bilzerian. I don't love Dan Bilzerian. I remember Dan Bilzerian from when he was doing like the most famous Instagram guy in the world, and he had all the girls around him, and he was selling like weed products, and that's what I remember him from. And then all of a sudden, he's like the top noticer, which was interesting. And then all of a sudden, he's running for Congress, which is like totally out of nowhere. I don't not like him. I don't know how serious his campaign is, and that's kind of a concern of mine, because a lot of people jump into these races and they're not serious campaigns, because a serious campaign requires serious work. Like, you can't just jump in a race 3 months before an election, think that you're going to win because you're popular. That's just not how politics works. Like, if you want to run for politics and actually want to run as an outsider candidate, like if you want to be a grassroots outside candidate, you can't just show up one day and be like, hey, I'm running for office, vote for me, because it's kind of disingenuous. It takes real work. You have to suffer, because you can't win if you don't suffer. That's how the game is made. And if you want to win as an outsider candidate against an establishment person, you can't just show up 3 months before, 4 months before, and think everyone's going to vote for you and going to win. It doesn't work that way. That's just the reality of it. And I wish it wasn't true that if someone had genuine interest and they wanted to win, that they can show up and win one day. But that's not the game, guys. That's not how it's made. And either they have poor advice, meaning that they're not really thinking about this before they run, or it's not real. So do I hate him? No, I have no bad feelings for Dan Bilzerian whatsoever. But if I were advising him, I would say, dude, you need to run 3 years later and you start your campaign today. And if you work hard for 3 years and you build up reputation for 3 years and you show people that they can trust you for 3 years and show consistency over 3 years, then you deserve to win. And people will vote for you and people will know who you are. But if you think you win because you won some credibility on the internet. It's not how it works. We just saw that with Thomas Massey. The boomers voted 80% in favor of this other guy. No one knows who this other guy is. You can't just show up and think that you're going to get their vote. You're not. You need to prove, and the boomers have been in politics so damn long, they're not going to vote for the guy that says the things they want to hear, unless you're Trump. It's just the way it is. It's not how I want it to be, but it's the reality of politics. If you're a serious candidate, you need to start running now so that you can win in 2 years. That means you need to sacrifice and work your ass off for 2 years. And the people who think it's a quick fix, that I'm just going to get a little bit of credibility on the internet, I'm going to trend a little bit, I'm going to go viral, and that's going to be enough to make me win. It's not true. We've seen it this entire election cycle. Every single guy that thought they're going to go popular and they're going to win because they're popular lost. Because that's not how real politics works. It's just the reality of the game. And either they don't know it or they think they're different. And unfortunately, we are seeing clearly that's not enough. So if Dan Bilzerian is a serious candidate, because he's not going to win this time, if I was in Florida, I would vote for him. How about that? If I was in Florida, in his district, I would vote for him. But if he is a serious candidate, he will stay involved in politics even after he loses. And then we find out if these candidates are real or not. Because most of the candidates that say, oh, we're America first, or we care, and we're here to be the anti-Israel vote, or whatever they want to say, if they disappear because they lost one time, they weren't real to begin with. Because true leadership requires selfless sacrifice. If they're not willing to do any sacrifice more than 2 months, they weren't going to sacrifice for you when they got into office anyway. If you're trusting that they will sacrifice themselves for you when they're in office, they will sacrifice for you now and for the next 2 years, even though they are not in office. So we'll find out what these guys are made of. And we'll watch them closely. And if they stick around and they try to be a part of the political game, if they try to make influence, if they try to grow their influence and their power so that they can actually win next time, I will support them when it gets close to election. Because they have shown through their actions, through their history, through their actual works that they are serious. If they are doing this just to get clicks and views and to make a mockery of the fact that there are real people out there that are anti-establishment, that are pissed off about what's going on in the world, and if their goal is to make a mockery of it just so they can get more famous doing it, fuck you guys. We'll find out what you're made of in 6 months if you're still around. After you lose the election, you disappear. You were never serious to begin with. We're about to find out. Rant over. Let's see. Don't forget about Zion money being pumped in to get rid of Massey. Yeah, Massey lost today. And that sucks. And I did a whole video on that. That's going to be uploaded tomorrow. It's all recorded. It's ready to go. But it sucks. It really sucks because, he was kind of the big last hope for the side of politics that we consider ourselves anti-establishment, because establishment is the left and the right, uniparty, two-party, uniparty, whatever. And he was the last man standing on it. And they removed him. And they went out of their way, spent ungodly amounts of money. The president got involved. The Secretary of War got involved. And the guy that beat Massey is a guy that didn't even fucking campaign. The guy that didn't campaign, that put out AI slop instead of his own words, no one even knows his fucking last name. This guy won. That's how broken and corrupt the system is. That a guy that no one knows his last name can win. Wild. The boomers took this nation from a straight state of greatness and have completely wrecked it. They did not prepare the nation for future generations. I agree. The boomers are a big problem. The boomers are the ones that are voting for all this shit. The boomers are the only ones that are supportive of this war. The boomers are the one that complain about housing prices when they bought their houses for $15,000. The boomers are the ones that are only benefiting from this going stock market going up because all their retirement plans are in it. But the people who actually don't have to live off their savings, the people who have to work for a living, they're struggling. And the boomers are like, oh, economy is great. Look. They don't fucking care. And they don't even want to spend their time or their effort to learn outside of the propaganda that they get from Fox News, from OAN, from whatever bullshit that they're watching. They don't want to think for themselves anymore. Like, oh, the youth, they're so lost because, they just watch TikTok all day. Dude, there's no one more addicted to propaganda and AI slop that can't tell the difference between if something is real or AI. That's the boomer generation. You don't know what's real. And you guys are making decisions. And you guys have nothing better to do. And you guys are going to vote. Younger people, for all credit or discredit, younger people have to do a better job of voting. That's just the reality of it. I know that the whole system is designed to make younger generations feel disenfranchised, that your vote doesn't matter, that it's bullshit and the system is rigged. All true. But it won't change unless the younger generations get involved. Every revolution, every big change, every cultural change in society, every civic movement, it starts with the younger generation, and they are trying to make it so the younger generation don't get involved. They're saying you are nothing. They're trying to remove your power, and it's intentional because what the youth represents is change. I'm a very big advocate of giving youth power because maybe they don't have the experience that the older generation has. Fair. But they can't fuck it up more than the older generation has. If we go down the road of what the boomers want, it's going to fucking fail and fall apart anyway. Might as well give the youth the chance to fix it. Because at the end of the day, next generation is going to fix it anyway. Let them get started earlier. Hold on, let me see where we're at here. Who's saying fuck you? Fuck you on the boomer BS. Oh my God, you have to blame instead of BlackRock and the massive traders. You blame your own parents. What a creep you are then. Eat a dick. What have the boomers done? How's this country going? Boomers like, oh no, like social media is not a big deal. Dude, told you it was a big deal. You guys fucked that up, didn't you? Oh no, like, the Iraq war, this is like amazing. It's like for freedom and we got to spread democracy. You're wrong. Oh no, it's okay. Like the housing crisis, the mortgage, like having these mortgages, like all these mortgages is a great thing. Well, yeah, the mortgage economy fell apart. We are living the result of bad decision after bad decision, and there is zero accountability from the older generation for it. It's just a reality. And it's like, oh, it's your fault. Like, have some respect. Eat a dick. The future generations are paying for the failures of the previous generations, and you have the audacity to blame it on the generations that had no fault in it. That's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. It's so delusional. Good boomers are not boomers. Not all boomers are bad. Fair. There are good boomers. There are a lot of good boomers in this chat right now as we speak. It's not all. And the people that are the good boomers understand when I say boomers, it's not all of you. It's like, oh, we say, oh, the Jews own the banks. Like, oh, it's not every fucking Jew, idiot. Oh, blacks kill blacks more. It's not every single black, idiot. People know that. When you say and you speak in generalities, it doesn't mean every single person in that group. Oh, I can't believe you said that about boomers. Are you serious? Like, think. Oh, everybody. It's how people talk. People are just, you know what I mean? Let's see. What do we have? What do we have here? Anything interesting? We're all stuck in boomer talk right now. Everyone wants to talk about boomers. I'm like over boomers. I don't have anything against boomers. But the lack of accountability from boomers is kind of a problem. Blame, oh, it's Gen Z's fault. It's the millennials' fault. Like, what? Are you kidding me? How do you blame them? You know? The Zionists are making things worse for the rest of the Jews. I agree. It's not all Jews. You know? I never said it was all. I'm not a all person. I'm also not the one that's going to make this caveat every time I speak. Oh, yeah, you know, the Israel owns Congress. Oh, but it's not like every single person in Israel. Like, I'm not the guy that wants to make that asterisk every time I speak. I think it's weak. I think it's weird that every time you say something, it's like, oh, I might get in trouble, so I have to make sure that I'm very politically correct and say that it's not all. We all know it's not all. Only idiots don't know that it's not all. People, I'm like so over this idea of people like just blaming everything and blaming everybody, and you know, it's not your fault. Fine, I get it, but at the same time, you know, like at some point you can be like, yeah, that was on me. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we had a part of it. You sound like my younger brother for a moment. Well, your younger brother is a very smart man. How about that? I think he's a very smart man. I'm having a hard time finding reliable news sources. Who do you listen to? Who can I rely on to give you real news? Doesn't this? I don't really watch a lot of news, to be honest. I'll scroll X. This is my news process. I scroll X. I figure out what topics that everyone's talking about, because that's how propaganda works. Everyone talks about it at the same time because they want you to talk about it. And then I will stop. I'll think about it. And if it's something I care about, then I'll do my own research and I'll try to figure out what I think is real, what is not. I think that it's impossible for you to know exactly what's going on, because you're only as good as the data you input, and the data you input in itself is flawed. So you'll never have a perfect outcome. It's not possible, but you do the best you can. And I think what I do is I try to look for best intention. But I don't listen to a lot of people at all, actually. I just don't. So if you want to find out what's going on in the world, I say listen to me, but I don't cover enough different news topics to be that guy to get your news from. Because I don't know. I only talk about things I think about or I care about. And I can't care about everything on the news because there's so much slop. And the reality is, if you miss a day and you come back, or if you miss a week and you come back a week later, like all the news that says the most important thing, like people forgot about it already. So I don't know. You have to follow 100 news sources, vet each for what they specialize in, learn critical thinking, doubling back on stories. I think it's just a matter of, like, does this make sense or not? You know? And the reality is that most national and international news, if you're like wrong, actually doesn't make that big of a difference. I just try to do the best, to give my best thought and analysis and make my own decision, whether it's right or wrong. Because, like, what if I'm wrong? Like, 50% of the people who tell the news are wrong 50% of the time anyway. Like, what if you're wrong? Like, it doesn't change anything. Let's see. We are like fighting each other in the comment section. That's amazing too. I would love to hear if Asian bros are finally waking up. Matt, please, let's discuss it. I think there is a contingency of Asians that are waking up and are aware. I think that amongst Asian society, it is very normalized to not, especially in Okay. In Asian American society, it is very normalized to keep your nose down and off the radar. I think that's why you don't see a lot of Asians speaking out, although they speak about it privately. I think I'm an outlier because we are taught since our families come to this country, don't get in trouble, don't attract too much attention, work hard, navigate the system, and if you don't fuck up too big, you can succeed. We are taught to not fail. And because of that, being overly aggressive in your ideas and your words and your opinions, it's a recipe of future failure because they use that and weaponize that against you. And because of that, I think a lot of very smart Asians stay away from the political world, at least publicly, although privately they all say it out loud. I mean, the Israel problem is something that I'm going to say most Asians actually agree with. It's just not something that is important or want to talk about, number one. Number two, most of the major industries that Asians work in, like finance, banking, law, medicine, they're like in that industry that those people run and operate. So if they want to succeed and move up and get promoted, then they can't talk about it. It's kind of like you're imprisoned by your own desire for like this fake meritocracy of success. So I think they're trapped in their own individual prisons and worlds. But I think there are a lot of people that want to speak on it. I think that's why a lot of people do listen to me. And yeah. But I think it's disappointing, actually. I wish more would speak out. I should start a channel of clips I find all day, just present them as I find them. Do you know what? I actually did this once before, and maybe this is the first time we'll really talk about it. So on X, I created a community. I've never promoted it. I've never talked about it. But what I did was I created something. Let me see where it is. Communities. Yeah, so it's a community. It's called Free Thinker Army. There are no people on it, but it's like one of these community things on X so that if you put your videos on there, then people within the community can see the videos that you share. If you guys put videos or tweets or things within it, I will totally incorporate that into the stream. I've just never done it before. But if you look up Free Thinker Army, it should be the one that I'm moderating. I've never promoted before. There's 0 people in there. And it looks like a tiger with a bunch of tigers. If you post to it or join it, let me see if I can even allow people to join it. Can anyone join it? Only members can post. How do you allow people to join? All communities you must ask to be approved. How do I remove that? Let me see if that's a setting. I will figure it out, but you can request to join. And if you do, and you post in there, I will totally use those things. Oh, open. Anyone can join. Okay. So anyone can join. It looks like this. I will show you right now. Let me see. How do I do it? Let me show you. So it looks like this. And if you go into it and you join this and you post in here, and you have the ability to put your posts in here, I will totally play them in future streams and future shows. I've never used it before, so if this is something of interest to you, definitely do it. And we will be able to put your post or whatever you put up there into the show, and something that I have the ability to look through and scroll through also. So if you want to do that, that would be awesome. Let me see here. Post a link. Burning question. China swallows up Taiwan, Japan, Africa, and Korea. U.S. swallows up Cuba, Canada, Mexico, South America. Putin takes Eastern Europe. Israel takes Middle East. So what will happen next? Well, okay. I can see why that's a thought. I don't think that happens anytime soon because United States, you'd have to take out the United States because they have interest in all of that. They're not just going to retreat and go back and say, oh, we only want this side of the country. I actually, totally side note to it, I think it's funny that the United States thinks that they can help countries on the other side of the world and that they can spread democracy and they can spread freedom and they can help other economies improve and get rid of dictators. And they think they can do all of this shit on the other side of the world, but they have yet to do that for South America, which is right next door. How can you say that you can help the Middle East? How can you say that you can help Europe? How can you say that you can help Africa, that you can help unite Asia? How can you say that you can help other continents on the other side of the ocean if you cannot help the country and figure out the country below? And I'm not advocating for fixing these countries, by the way. I am not advocating for fixing South America. But if you're going to say that I'm going to fix the Middle East, if I'm going to fix Africa, if you're going to do all of this shit over there, but you can't do it here, like, why should anyone believe you? If we are forced to fix anything anyway, I'd rather fix what's next door. Do you know why they fix shit on the other side of the country instead of next door? They fix shit that is across the world and instead of the things next door because you can't notice where they spend their money when they do it so far away. That's the only reason. If they say, oh, we're doing this to build schools in Guatemala, it's too easy for Americans to go to Guatemala, like, where the schools at? Oh, we're investing in like infrastructure in Colombia. Okay, go to Colombia. Oh wait, where'd the money go? It's too easy to do that. It's like, oh no, we're doing it for like infrastructure in like Afghanistan. You can't go. You can't verify. That's the only reason that they're over there, by the way. Because they can launder the money and hide the money and say they're working on projects on the other side of the world. If it was in Mexico, all you gotta do is go over and check it out. Where's the road? I don't think this scenario happens anytime soon. I think we're very far away from that. Matt, where are you leaving to? I'm going to Korea in 2 days. I was banned from Twitter for making fun of Rand Paul about getting beat up by his neighbor. That's hilarious. Whereas Matt leaving to? I'm going to Korea. Wrong. They fucked up Colombia. True. Clinton's equals Haiti. That's true. Clinton's really did a number on Haiti. But they don't do what they do there. Matt, is there any hope for the future? I want my great, 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 great grandkids, great, 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 great grandkids to see me in heaven as I hope to see my ancestors there. Does God have patience? I think that this world and this life that we live is temporary. That is why I'm okay with the good and the bad, because it is what it is. I think that men are built, especially men, are built to suffer. That it is our job and our responsibility to strive and move forward regardless of the suffering. I think that life is suffering, and I think that's okay. I think that as men, it is our responsibility to do things for future generations, knowing that we ourselves will never see the benefit or the fruits of our labor. And I think that the work I put in today, if there is a benefit to society in 3 generations, and I never know about it, but it happens, it'll be worth it. I think that this idea that the work I put in today, I have to see the results tomorrow, is the mentality that makes people quit, make people give up, that makes people think that the purpose needs to be served immediately, and therefore when they don't see the results, they quit. And I think you have to realize that the fruits of your labor, that changing the world doesn't happen overnight, that it happens over generations. And I'm okay with that. Not because I don't want things to happen now. I very much want change to happen now. I want my life to be better. I want your life to be better. I want my neighbor's life to be better. I want everyone around me, their lives to be better. But Life is suffering. We have to do the work now, knowing that we will never see the fruits of our labor. What's the phrase? Plant the tree, knowing we will never enjoy the shade. And I think that's especially men need to think that way. And I say men specifically because I think men and women are very different. I will never pretend to understand what happens in the mind of a woman because men and women are just wired completely differently. I will never understand what happens in a woman's mind. And forever will I speak on the behalf of men and never on behalf of men and women because, again, I don't know what the fuck's in your minds. It's different in there. It's hard enough to know what's in my mind, never mind other men's mind, and I will never understand what's in the mind of women. So, I believe men need to live a life of suffering. For women, do whatever you want. I don't know. Plant trees that belong to the environment too. I can see that. We stand on the shoulder of giants. I love that too. You know, you did not know what will happen till later. I thought Kentucky was smarter than that, especially considering Trump endorsed the Massey before the Epstein situation and was literally backed by someone who was looking fairly bad in the files. This just shows you how well-oiled of a propaganda machine that is currently in place. It's not that Kentucky was smarter than or not smarter than. Most of Kentucky and most Americans are not watching this podcast right now. Most Americans are not doing their own research on what's going on in the world. What's going on, or they're not noticing, or they're not following. They are reading the headlines, and the headlines are saying, Massey bad, Ed, whatever his fucking name is, good. And they show up to the booth. They don't know who either party is. They actually don't care. In their mind, they're like, well, Trump's our president. I like Trump. He said Massey's bad. I'm going to vote for the other guy. And if you noticed, Trump never really talked about how good this Ed, whatever his name is. He didn't even mention him. All he did was say, Massey bad, Massey bad, Massey bad, Massey bad. The reason he did that is because they knew that if they try to promote this guy's name, no one will remember it because no one knows who he is. They knew that what would work is say, Massey bad, you show up at the booth and you vote for the guy that's not Massey. That was the entire plan and it worked. And it sucks that it worked. I wish it didn't work. It's very unfortunate that it worked. But again, their machine is so solid. They have very little support in the country. Everyone's really mad at them for what they've done. But when it comes to election time, they can get the people out. They can move the boomers to the polls to vote. And they did. And the boomers overwhelmingly voted against Thomas Massey. Why? Because Trump told them to. I don't want it to be that way. I don't wish that were true. But again, we, on this show, on this stream, we deal in realities, not what we wish would have happened. It is what it is. If we want change for the next election or in the actual election cycle, we have to be aware of where we currently are. And where we currently are is that their propaganda machine and their manipulation of content and ideas on the internet is fucking strong right now. Plus, apparently, Elon's got space lasers that affects elections. That's a weird one. I'm gonna have to look into that more. I am doing dishes now, and it is suffering. It is suffering, my friend. Doing dishes is suffering. How'd you break it? I fell. There is an entire video dedicated to how I broke it. We can do it. And I'm not going to address it anymore. I remember, let's see. We don't know that these elections are legitimate. We don't know. We don't know. You know? We don't know. I don't know if elections are legitimate, actually. Because people often say when it gets election, Matt, like, why should we vote? And for me, it really becomes probability and logic, if that makes sense. It's probability and logic. What happens if I don't vote? And the election is actually real. Well, then, I didn't vote, and I lost my chance to make a difference. What happens if the election is fake, but I voted? What happens? Well, I lost like 20 minutes of my time. The downside is in not voting. Right? If the worst that can happen, if the election is fake, is that you lost 20 minutes of your time, and the downside of not voting and the election is real, is that you don't get to actually cast a vote and make a difference, well then, clearly, probability says it's better to vote. It's the only reason I vote. Because there's very little downside for not and upside for yes. Does it matter? That's a completely different discussion, but at least you tried. Because again, doing nothing does nothing. You know, I'm a very logic-based person. You know, if it makes sense and logically it's like the logical thing to do, like why fight that? You know, I think a lot of things in life, even politics, could be solved by just using basic logic and common sense. Probably rigged most of the time, but at least educate yourself and vote in your local. I agree there too. I think local elections matter. I try to know who I'm voting for in local elections. And sometimes local elections are shifted by 100 votes, 50 votes, 10 votes. Like your vote actually does matter in a local election. So definitely do that. Do your due diligence. Figure out for yourself. You know, maybe we'll do this for the next election cycle. Maybe we'll highlight a few areas where people live and we'll focus on some local elections just for fun. You know, like who are we actually voting for? Let's see. You ever try shrooms? I have tried shrooms when I was in college. I don't like to trip. Not because I am morally against it, actually. I don't like the feeling of not being controlled. I'm actually kind of a control freak, if you guys can't tell. I like things to be a specific way. I like things to be my way. I am very vocal about what I want things to be like. And in order to have a good trip, you have to be willing to let go. You have to be willing to be like, all right, it's kicking in. I'm going to let go and let the journey take me where I want it to go. You have to be willing to do that. I have a very difficult time doing that. I fight it all the way through. So I don't actually have too many experiences of a good trip. Not that I have bad trips. I just don't trip hard. And I don't like that feeling because I feel antsy, because I can feel this internal battle between my own brain and the reality of what's happening. And then this struggle that's going on, I don't like it. So I don't have a moral qualm with shrooms. Actually, I know a lot of people that have actually improved their cognitive ability or quit a bad habit or got a deeper understanding about themselves or about the world through their experience with different types of psychedelics. So I am not against it at all. But personally, I'm not for it. I actually do very little drugs in general. I don't like to take pharmaceuticals at all. I am taking painkillers right now because it hurts like a bitch. But even now, I'm just taking like hydrocodone. So it's not even like that strong. Yeah. So I'm not a big drug guy. Not because I'm morally against drugs, to be fair. I just don't personally like them. I don't like feeling that I don't have full control of what's going on around me. It's good for you for exactly that reason, Matt. I know. And I've had a lot of people trying to get me into one of these trips, and one of these, like, I've always wanted to try DMT. I've always wanted to do these trips down to like Mexico and do all these ayahuasca trips. Like, I've considered it. I've never done it before. And if an opportunity arises, I may consider it in the right environment where it's specifically tuned for that. Again, I'm not morally opposed to it. I think it's very interesting. I've known a lot of people that have a very positive experiences from it. But again, it's my internal battle of not willing to give up control. That really makes it difficult for me to trip. Good luck, brother. Korea is in my short list to visit. Some good restaurant, which recommendation would be appreciated. Be safe. Yeah, we'll do some stuff in Korea. I know a lot of people over there, a lot of Americans over there, a lot of military over there. Actually, we have a lot of people that watch the podcast that are American military in Seoul right now. So maybe we'll even, if you're watching from Korea, I'm coming. Maybe we'll do a meetup. Maybe we'll get together and we'll hang out, because there are a lot of American GIs in Korea that actually watch this podcast. So we should do it. That'd be cool. And we'll like put it online. Hydrocodone is strong. I mean, it's not like Vicodin. It's not Oxycontin. It's like the weakest one of the list. Hydrocodone is not the strongest. Again, I'm not like, I just don't take a lot of drugs, but I've tried everything, if that makes sense. Let's see, what else do we have here today? Safe travels, thank you. Migrant control, and thank you. Let's see where we're at here today. Hydro is highly addictive. Interesting. They give me like 3 days supply, and if they tell me to take it every 4 hours, I'll take it like every 8. And I am flying to Korea, and this is like the time I'm most actually concerned about, because it's like 2 hours at the airport, 14 to 15 hours on a plane, and I get sore. And 15 hours on a plane wearing this thing, I think it's going to drive me crazy. My hands are probably going to get really swollen too. It's already swollen right now. So really the pain meds are for the flight. That's the biggest one for me. Hydrocodone is Vicodin. No, it's not. Hydrocodone is the beer of opioids. I think that's the best way to put it. Hydrocodone is the beer of opioids. Opioid. That's such a weird word. Opioids. Opioids. Wish you the best. Stop the poo slingers. That's funny because I'm wearing a sling. It's hilarious. Poo slingers. Let's see. What is this? Pastors being briefed on disclosure. Sounds a lot like a lot of people that were never allowed in the club but desperately always wanted to be. I did see this note going around that the government is reaching out to certain pastors about how to deal with the congregation when they tell the truth of UFOs and aliens. I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. It's like, is it the same pastors that they convinced that that Zionism is important and that eschatology means that it's good for humanity? I don't know. I'm curious to see who those pastors are that got it. We need a revolution for plane seats that aren't abject torture. So when I fly to Korea, I used to fly Korean Air. Now I fly Delta. And the Delta flights international are actually pretty nice. I don't take business class, but there is this class that is like premium economy, and it's more expensive, but it's not as expensive as business class. But you can lift your legs up like not flat, but like this much, and you actually get a good amount of recline. So that's kind of what I use my points for to upgrade to that. And it's not the worst. It's not awesome, but better than it used to be because I used to fly internationally all the time. Actually, I've been all over the world, and from what it used to be 10 years ago, the improvement in quality of international travel has increased drastically. So yeah, it's not the worst. It's not like it used to be. It used to be really bad. Keep telling yourself that word you can't pronounce. Opioids. 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 It's opioids. It's stupid. Stupid fucking word. It's like there deliberately to like trip me up. Hey yo, okay. Ready? I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna attempt this. Hey yo, why people don't season they cast and she. Oh, is that Jamaican? Why would people don't season these casting sheets? Oh, I think that's Jamaican, bro. Dude, tell me that's Jamaican. Tell me I knocked that out of the park. Dude, tell me that's Jamaican. I think that's Jamaican. That's how Jamaicans like write and talk. I think that's right. Dude, if he left without telling me if that's Jamaican or not, I'm gonna be pissed. Because I just made an ass of myself. But I think that's Jamaican. Let's see here. Have you looked into the history of opium? Opium. Illuminati have been dealing since ancient summer. No, I haven't. But I will add that to my list of things to look at. I think that's pretty cool. What did Peter say about your accident? I have not spoken to Peter in, I'm going to say, maybe 2 months. And it's not intentional. I just haven't spoken to him. I don't know what he's up to. I think he's busy doing whatever he's working on. So, yeah. I hope he's well. Hope he comes back to the podcast one day, but I haven't seen him in a while. Okay. Do you know who Andre Kim is? I met him at a McDonald's in Incheon. I'm going to say there's probably like 100,000 Andre Kims in the world. I have no idea. So I do not know Andre Kim. Do you know what's funny? One day, some kid on Instagram added me to a Instagram group chat. And what he did, his name was Matt Kim or Matthew Kim. He went through Instagram, found all the Matthew Kims on Instagram, put him in a group chat, and he says, I feel like this needed to happen. So I am in a group chat with all these Matt Kims and Matthew Kims all over the country. And every once in a while, I'll go in there and be like, hey, you guys are amazing. You guys are great. And then everyone was fun. Yeah, you guys too. You guys too. And no idea who any of these people are. But there's a group chat of like 50 Matt Kims that I'm in. I have no idea who any of them are. You guys had such good chemistry. We just assumed you were best friends. Yeah, I mean, we are good friends. We kind of made a decision that we're going to pause the podcast. He said that he had to work on other things right now, and he didn't really have time to allocate at the time, so that he had to focus on other big projects he had, which is fair. Like, I'm not gonna hold him hostage. And then a couple weeks went by. I reached out to him. I was like, "Hey, how are you? I hope you're well. Let's do some lunch." And he sent me like a meme back, and I haven't heard from him since. So partially on me, because I haven't followed up, but I'm notoriously a bad friend, but I have not followed up, and I don't know what he's doing. So maybe if he's watching the stream or he checks it out later, he'll like chime in or he'll join and let us know. But I'm not sure. Is Matt Korean name? No, Matt is not a Korean name. Matt is an English name, Matthew. I believe it's an English name. I don't know where actually Matthew is from. But my name is Matthew. I do have a Korean name, but I was born in the United States. I was raised here, so I have a full American name. Yeah. How did Peter react to your arm? I don't know if Peter knows about my arm, to be honest. You know, maybe he does. I don't know. I haven't spoken to him, so I'm not sure. Yeah. I wish I had something better to say. Stop acting stupid and confused about language. It's not about language. It's about reality of what is happening right now. We don't have much time left. Don't be ignorant. The world is collapsing. You know, like this Chicken Little, like the world is falling, the world is falling, the world is falling, the world is falling. Like, I've been around a long enough time to have been through the cycles of the world is falling. And there's always a new world is falling. And the one thing that's most interesting about humanity is that humans are resilient, that people are resilient, that there's always an opportunity, and things that seem like it's the end of the world, yes, things change rapidly, things change fast, things may be changing for the worse. Those things can all be true at the same time, but it doesn't mean we're out of time. And if we're out of time and this is the end, it's the end. You know, there's this phrase that one person told me once that is something that I kind of live by. And the phrase is this: live as if the world ends tomorrow. Plan as if you have another 100 years. Live as if the world ends tomorrow. Plan as if you have another 100 years. I try to make the best decisions in my life at all times. I try to be good and fair to the people around me. I don't lie because I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't want to be the world end tomorrow and the last thing I said was a lie. I don't want that to be true. But I plan as if we have forever because I don't know. Neither do you. Been through too many cycles of the world's going to end tomorrow and it didn't happen. I can't stop my life because I think the world is going to end. Live as though the world ends tomorrow. Plan as if you have another 100 years. You can write that one down. I think that's a fair one to live by. Get some BPC 157 HGH and you'll cut recovery in half. Yeah, I have been looking into BPC 157. A lot of people that are in the health world, former veterans, people that are involved in kind of that type of world and culture have reached out. They've all recommended BPC 157. So it's something that I will incorporate into my regimen probably once I come back. I don't know the legality of it in Korea, so I'm not going to take it over there. And I don't know the legality of getting it over there, but I will find out once I get there. And if it's something that's readily available, then I'll start using it over there. If I have to wait till I come back to the States to take it, then I'll do that. I know that you're supposed to say, oh, it's for research only. So like caveat for research only, fine. But I have been looking heavily into BPC 157, and it is something that I will be implementing into my life. But thank you. I appreciate that. Good luck on the surgery. I have health insurance. I've never used it. I don't trust doctors, especially after COVID. Dude, I've had health insurance like almost my entire life. I've never broken a bone. I've never been sick enough to go to the hospital. I've never been to the emergency room. So I've never ever had to use my insurance. I've been paying for it. For my entire life, I've been paying for health insurance. Money just wasted down the drain because I never get that money back. And the 3 weeks that I don't have health insurance in my entire life is when I run into a situation where I actually need it and I don't have it. I don't even know what to say about that. Isn't life funny? Isn't it funny that that's how it works? Of course, at the time that you need it, it's not there for you to have. But it's fine. I'll figure it out. Again, I believe that all things happen for a reason, meaning that for some reason I was supposed to break my arm, because through me breaking my arm, the way that I do the podcast and the stream was supposed to change, because it's going to change. I have to change it because I can't do it the same way I was doing it. And because of me breaking my arm and finding out that the surgery here in the United States is $60,000, that I'm going to use this as an opportunity to go to Korea to do my surgery. And what I'm going to run into while I'm in Korea, I have no idea. But for some reason, the world and God and karma and whatever you want to call it has broken my arm so that it takes me the long way around all the way to end up on the other side of the world. I am super excited to find out what that reason is, because I think we're going to find out together. I think it's going to change the trajectory of our life and change the reason of our purpose, maybe change how we do things in the future. I don't know at all. But what I do know is that it was so important for me to end up there this week that my arm had to break for me to make sure I got there. It's crazy, isn't it? Whatever that we are going to encounter in the next phase, the next journey, which is right around the corner, whatever that opportunity or struggle or strife or fight or whatever is on the other side of this next door, it is so important that I had to break my arm to get there. Dude, do you know how awesome that is? Do you know how fortunate I am, actually, that I have the opportunity to do and experience something so epic that I had to break my arm to do it? I'm actually really excited. I'm excited. I'm going to take you guys with me. We will document this journey. We will talk about it live, because I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what it is, but I think it's going to be fucking cool. I mean, how big of something is going to happen that it was so important to get me there? And I didn't, my wife was supposed to go to Korea a few weeks ago. I didn't want to go. I told her I'm not going. I told her I'm not going to go. I canceled my flight to go because I didn't want to go. I wanted to do something here. I wanted to continue to do this podcast. I wanted to keep on doing what I promised to do, which is continue to be online and continue to do these streams and these podcast episodes. I wanted to commit and fulfill that promise. So when my wife said she's going to go to Korea, you got to come with me, I told her no. I actually had a ticket. I canceled it because I didn't want to go. And I fought going so much that I had to break my arm to make sure that I went to the place that I said I don't want to go to. It's like a fucking movie. How cool is that? Like, how often do you get to be a part of the world moving and changing and altering your direction just so that you experience something that you were trying to actively avoid? I don't know what it is. I have zero idea what's on the other side. What I do know 100% in my heart is that I'm supposed to go do it. So we're about to find out. I mean, are you guys as stoked and pumped as I am? It's Sorry, it's getting sore. Are you as stoked and as excited as I am to see what that is? It's pretty cool. Um, I'm going to stream from Korea. I will stream from. I'm going to take whatever I can. I'm going to stream from Korea. I'll show you as much of it as I can, because I don't know. Okay, this is how my brain works. This is how the logic works for me. First, I stopped making podcast episodes for months, and then all of a sudden, at the same exact time, friends closest to me started calling me, and they said, "Matt, I don't know why you stopped doing the podcast. Like, you're supposed to do this podcast. You have to do this podcast." Like, man, I don't know if I should. Like, I don't, like, is it making a difference? Like, I don't know. I'm kind of getting burned out. All at the same time, random people started calling me and saying, "Matt, you're supposed to do this. You got to go back online." Okay, I will. And I made the video, and I made a couple videos. Said, "Hey, I'm back." And then I committed to you, and I promised you guys that I will continue to do this show, that I will continue to do podcasts, I will continue to stream. I don't know what that format look like yet. I don't have an idea of what exactly or how I'm going to do it, but I will do it. I will figure it out, and I will continue to do it because I promise I will do it. And then my wife says, "Well, we're supposed to go to Korea, and we have your ticket, so you got to go." I said, "I don't want to go. I just made this new commitment. I want to do this instead." And I cancel my ticket. And then I break my arm, and I have to go to Korea. Logically, it means that I got to continue to do the stream while I go to Korea, because that's how it lines up, right? I'm not in a place to fight it right now. I'm going where the universe says I'm supposed to go, and I'm just going. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Should you speak Korean since you're in Korea? I do speak Korean fluently, actually. Not like I can speak politics and debate history Korean fluently. I was born in the States. I was raised in the States, but I've always had an interest in learning my native language, and I think I'm really fortunate that I am naturally good with language. So I don't, like when people try to learn a new language, they say that the time you get proficient in that language is when you start thinking in that language. And when I think, I don't think in a language, actually. I don't think in English, or I don't think in Korean. It's just ideas that are there in my mind, and when I speak them is when the language comes out. Does that make sense? I don't think in a language. They're just ideas that are just in my brain, and they don't become full ideas until it comes out of my mouth and I say it out loud. I've told you this before. I don't have like this inner dialogue. So I don't talk to myself in my mind. So if I don't talk to myself in my mind, then I don't hear a language in my mind. So I don't hear a language in my mind. It's in my mind. It's not English. It's not Korean. It's not Spanish. It's just is. And then I speak, and it comes out. And sometimes it's English. Sometimes it's Korean. My Korean is not to a level of I want to debate politics, but it's good enough where I can navigate the world pretty well, and I get around Korea extremely well because my Korean's good enough for that. Are you talking all the time or in the flow state? I'm not exactly sure what it means. Actually, I don't know. I don't know what it means. I don't think. Speaking is how I think, because they are ideas that circulate my brain, but I don't hear them, or do I discuss them, or do I debate them. They're just a way of, it's like processing. It's like you don't feel your computer process. It's like my brain is my computer and it just processes. I don't understand it. And it only makes sense to me when I say it out loud. So I don't filter between my ideas or my brain and my mouth. It just that's how I think. I think out loud. And sometimes that output is in English. Sometimes that output is in Korean. Sometimes that output used to be in Spanish. My Spanish used to be better, but very rough these days. Yeah, so it's just that's how it works. We can finally get a Korea stream. Yes, we are going to get Korea streams. I think it'll be fun. Do you also have aphantasia? What is aphantasia? I feel like I've heard that word before. The inability to voluntarily create mental images in your mind's eye. Yes. I don't have that either. I don't see pictures in my mind. I don't see pictures in my mind, and I don't debate within my mind. So I don't sometimes like, oh, close your eyes and visualize. I don't do that. I don't visualize in my mind. I also don't hear words in my mind. It's like, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know if it means my brain is broken. It's just what it is. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that other people could do this. I always thought that was just like something to say. But yes, I don't see images in my mind. I don't visualize in my mind. And I don't have dialogue in my mind. My mind processes and my words are my output. It's like different. I don't know if a lot of people are wired like this. I think that's what makes the way I think different, because like what I say is literally what I think. I don't know. Maybe that's a good thing or a bad thing. That's why maybe I can be wrong. Maybe not. I don't know. That's why when I speak, sometimes I like pause between words, because that is literally my brain processing between words coming out. I do all of the above now, but I'm likely ambidextrous, so I think that plays a role. I am very much right-handed. I am very much right-eye dominant. So definitely not ambidextrous. He thinks in numbers. I don't think in numbers. I don't know what I think in, actually. I don't understand my processing. I just know that my mind processes. Does that make sense? I don't calculate. I don't think. I don't visualize. I don't debate in my mind. It just processes, and my words are my output. That's like the only way I could explain it. I don't have this ability to do otherwise. And I've tried. I've tried the whole visualization thing. I've tried try to talk to myself thing. I've tried all aspects of it, and I don't have the ability to. I think most people are one or the other, or some sort of combination of each. I think the fact that I don't have the ability to do any of it, I think that's kind of rare, actually. And I didn't know that till recently. And I ran into a study and they were talking about it. It's like a brand new study, and it's so rare that people don't really know what to call this and whatever. And I was like, oh, fuck. So yeah, that's why I like to stream, because I can see a comment and I can just react, and this is like my processing of the words coming out. And like for some people, it is not enough structure. I am not good with the structure because no one thinks in structure. I just mind dump. And it's not that, I'm going to say I've pretty decently high IQ. I process information very quickly. I retain information very easily. I learn best through immersion. So I will go all in on one topic and live within that topic for 3, 5, or 6 months, and I'll learn it comprehensively very well. That's how I learn, through immersion and by being a part of it and being a part of whatever it is I'm trying to learn. It's how I learn best. But I can learn very advanced concepts very quickly because of it. But I don't read well. I'm not a strong reader, actually. You know, I think I have a little ADHD where I cannot concentrate on reading for long periods of time. Because if I read one passage and it makes me think about something, then instantly I'm pivoted to another way. And it's weird because I say I don't think, but then I'll get a thought, but then I have to act on that thought by like reading and learning, and I'm not thinking, but I know I have to consume. It's fucking odd. I don't know how to explain it. Because I'm not thinking, but there's this feeling within me that says I have to look this up and I have to learn it. So I learn it, but I'm not thinking about it like why or should I do it. It's just I have to. It's like pulling within me that says you have to look this up. I think that's why I end up in a lot of rabbit holes, because someone will give me one concept or I'll read one news story and instantly a thought will pop in my mind. And rather than think about it, I have to consume it. And then through the consumption of it, I'm like picking it up and it becomes a part of my kind of database. It's weird. I know it's weird. I'm like overthinking it, but I'm not overthinking. I'm just talking. It's fucking someone should study my brain. They may be very scared. If you read a lot of stuff online, that also counts, but reading a long form text requires concentration. It's not that I lack, it may be a concentration thing, but it's not, because I don't have problems staying focused on topics or staying focused on things I want to achieve or goals. My problem is that if I am reading one thing and I think and a thought that is parallel or branches off of it, even though that this, whatever I'm reading is taking me a certain place, I decide I actually want to go somewhere else in my mind. And I have to go that way. I have a very difficult time saying there's this other parallel path that I can take, but I'm going to stay this path. It's very difficult for me to do. I don't know if that's a concentration thing or that's a focus thing or a distraction thing, or it's just that I have to make my own path, and that the books, when I read them, dictate and decide your path for you. I think that may actually be it. I don't like my journey dictated. The books give me a place to start, and I will decide where I end up. And if you read the book, it has already decided for you where you end up. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Because I don't leave the topic. I don't go to something completely like, I'm not thinking, oh, how does headphones work? And all of a sudden, oh, look, like water bottle. How does a water bottle work? Oh, look, phone. Like, I'm not jumping around like super ADD. It's more like I'm looking at this and I'm like, like these are manufactured and what type of plastic? And actually, how do you, I don't even know how to explain it. My brain is fucked. Write it down for later. Yeah, I used to be a really big note taker, and that used to be what helped me. So I used to have these kind of, like these really cheap notebooks, and I would jot notes all day long. Anytime I'm talking, I used to write notes, or I read something and I'm jotting notes, or I'm watching something and jotting notes. I used to love taking notes. And then one day I realized that I have just containers and crates of notebooks of all my notes. I've never gone back to read them. They're so disorganized, I'm never going to read them again. I was like, do I really need this actually? And then this is before I was doing videos. But now that I have videos as record of what I've said, I stopped taking the notes because, like, what if I was doing this podcast or I was streaming and I was sitting here taking the notes while I was doing it? It'd be weird. I don't know. Life changes. Let's see. IQ is 140 plus, but varies test to test. 137 to 160. But I don't trust IQ test over 150 because someone else is involved with interpretation, usually two others. You surpassed anyone. Yeah. I'm not a big IQ test is all person. But I think IQ is a real thing. So it's very hard. I think it's more of the range. I have a friend who his IQ, I believe, is 187. And he was admitted into Mensa when he was like 14 or 15 years old. And his IQ is 187. That's like what the test said, 187. And that's like ridiculously smart, 187. And sometimes when I'm talking to him, I say to him, man, I wonder if you understand what I'm saying. Because what I see as important, maybe you don't see it that way. Because we think on such different levels that maybe you're saying things to me really simply in your mind, and to me it's really complex. And maybe I'm pointing things out that are so obvious, but you don't think at the plane in which I think, that you don't see it the way I see it either. And maybe we disagree, not because one is smarter than the other, and I say that because I know he's smarter, because he just is. But maybe we see it from different perspectives because our realities are different. And I don't think about that often, but when I talk to him, and I know he's probably one of the smartest person I've ever met in my life, 187 IQ, mental when you're 14, like you're a really smart guy. You're also like socially awkward, you lack empathy, you are different on how you approach situations. You probably see solutions to problems before I even realize they are a problem, but then you are probably solving problems when you don't have to solve them because you lack the intuitiveness to know that some of these problems can solve themselves, but you have to solve them. So there's a plus and a minus for both of it. And we struggle and we help each other and we talk to each other about it. But IQ is definitely a thing. And when I get to speak to people that have just ridiculous IQs, I enjoy it because I think it puts kind of the world and my own thought process into perspective. If that makes sense. Can you bet at Polymarket about imminent strikes? Polymarket is a huge psyop, number one. Number two, Polymarket is highly illegal. The only reason it's allowed is because the Trump family is directly involved with it. It is definitely Israel-owned technology. They are manipulating it, allegedly, for elections, and it is something that it is highly illegal to do. That if you are, that's why they say you're not supposed to do it and you got to do it in another country. That it is definitely one of those things that if you're doing regularly, that a future administration can decide, do you know what? Remember all those people that bet on Polymarket and that shit was illegal? It doesn't matter that they did it because it's illegal now and we're going to go back and go after them. It's a reality because they did that to people within crypto. Remember? Crypto is legal now, but the people that did crypto back in 2015, actually some of the things and the way they handled the taxes were illegal. So we're going to go back retroactively and go after them. That actually happened. If you don't think they can do that to people in Polymarket, you are wrong. Because by the letter of the law, Polymarket is fucking illegal. They can call it predictive gaming or whatever they want to call it. All they want, it's fucking gambling. Everyone knows it's gambling. And just because you call it something different doesn't change the fact that it is gambling. And that is highly manipulated gambling. And that it is highly manipulated by bots and foreign entities, and that is a very small minority of people that are skewing the numbers in order to influence public opinion. Therefore, eventually, someone's gonna come back and get really pissed off about it. I don't fuck with it at all. And I've been approached by them to promote them. I've been approached by Kalshi to promote them. Both of them have offered me a lot of money. Dude, I do not want... The things we talk about on this podcast and this channel are so considered fringe and out of what's considered normal already and what's considered mainstream or allowed already. I do not need to add things that I know are clearly legal into that list, even though it's allowed. Right? Just because it's allowed does not mean it's legal. And this is not the battle I have any desire fighting. To go back 5 years later and get into a legal battle because I promoted Polymarket 5 years ago. It's fucking crazy. I do not need that stress in my life. I wish I bought more crypto, but I was broke here when it came out. I quadrupled my money, but only I got into crypto like I think I bought my first Bitcoin when it was like 2015, 2016, maybe in that range. It was like maybe $1,800 or $3,000, somewhere in that range. And I did it just because I was like, oh, actually, Peter convinced me. Like, if you don't own at least one Bitcoin, like you're gonna be in problems. It's not that much right now. You just buy it. Convinced me to buy it. So I'm grateful to him. At the same time, not a big believer in like crypto. I actually think it's gonna fail because it doesn't make any sense. The idea of crypto as a theory makes sense. But in practice, it makes zero sense. Because cryptocurrency is supposed to be a currency, yet no one actually uses it for currency. The adoption of cryptocurrency in the world to this date is so small, it might as well be zero. The adoption of cryptocurrency in this world economy is so low, it might as well be zero. The only reason crypto has any value is because people hold it for speculative value. It's the only reason. Every single project that promised you that it had a real world use case, it's all vaporware. It never produced anything of real value. And the only value that crypto has is because someone else is willing to pay more for it, or you're hoping. Let's see. Privacy coins make sense. Nothing else. I agree. So for the privacy coin side, I am a Zeno guy. I like Zeno. I've known those guys. They are legitimate. They believe in privacy, and it is a much smaller project. I am a Zeno guy. Within Zeno project, they have something called FUSD, which is not as well known and not as well used, but it is a privacy stable coin. So therefore, you can use a stable coin one for one and be able to do it privately. So I am an advocate for Freedom Dollar. That's what they call it, Freedom Dollar, FUSD. So I like privacy coins. The ones I mess with are Zeno and Freedom Dollar. But again, if I were going to use cryptocurrency, those are the ones I use. Matt, once the Clarity Act passes, the floodgates for institutional money into crypto will open. I agree. And they call it crypto to make it more palatable for you. Really, what it is digital controlled currency. It is a central bank digital currency, CBDC. That is what the Clarity Act will pass. It is not this anonymous, do whatever you want crypto that the crypto original cypherpunks of the world had wanted and advocated for. It is not that at all. It is purely controllable money. What they want to do is they want to tokenize all of your assets. And the reason why they want to tokenize your assets is because if you do not comply, they can take it. The only people that are able to institute and be able to, the only people that are going to be allowed to play the game are the institutional banks. And all we did was created a system that makes it easier for them to control us. The purpose and premise of cryptocurrency was to free you from the Fed and corrupt system. That's why it existed. That was the whole purpose. And most cryptocurrency users, given the opportunity to use that as a launching pad, to use cryptocurrency for the way that it was meant to be, which is so that we have a parallel currency to the controlled currency. And what did we do with that opportunity? When Moon, When Lambo? We used the system and the opportunity to create a parallel economy, and what we did with it was we did the same thing that the banks do, which is speculate. We fucked it up. Cryptocurrency advocates of the world, instead of using it for trade and using it for currency and developing an economy where we're able to trade goods with one another without relying on the Fed system, instead of doing that, we fucking spent time on meme coins and NFTs, hoping to make an extra few bucks. Sold ourselves out. That's the reality of cryptocurrency. We could have made a difference and fucked it up. And now packaged it nice and tight for the Fed and the institutional banks to take over and monopolize the entire system. And we get nothing in return. Clarity Act. Fucking CBDCs. BTC is not the cypherpunk dream. It's not anymore. It was. I know a lot of the original Bitcoin guys, the OG guys. I know a ton of them. They're cypherpunks. They did it because they believed in creating a system outside of the system. That's why most of the original Bitcoin guys got involved. It's not that anymore, clearly. It's clearly not that. I worked at a casino for 10 years. People are hooked to the idea of quick wealth. Trust crypto was created as a macro scale trap to absorb speculative capital and eventually liquidate. Yeah, if you read this book, Roger Ver wrote the book called, what is it called? Hijacking Bitcoin. So Roger Ver wrote this book called Hijacking Bitcoin. It's actually published it right before they arrested him. And in it, he talks about how the FBI, CIA took and hijacked the Bitcoin movement. Which I believe him. I know Roger. I think he's a legitimate person. I think he actually cares about cryptocurrency. I think he actually cares about freedom. I think that's probably why they locked him up. They didn't lock him up. They eventually let him go. Let's see here. Missed these. Matthew, Matteo, Matthew, Latin from Bible etymology. Yes. My name is Matthew from the Bible. That's why my mom named me that. Literally named me after Matthew of the Bible because the first book of the New Testament, and that's what she wanted to name me. So she didn't, because obviously Matthew is not a family Korean name. She named me after the book. I worked CNA in my 20s hearing stories of Gen Xers, boomers, telling me they started working at 14, 12, 10, 8. What are your thoughts on having to wait until 16, 18 to start working? Makes no sense to me. I think that there's no right way to parent. I think that only you know what's best for your child. Because you raise them, you spend time with them. I think this idea of asking the government on what is better for your child is asinine. Because the reality is the state is trying to replace parents and states are trying to become the parent. Like, not a good idea. I think that trusting these people who talk about parenting on the internet and write books, well, actually history has shown that most people that talk about parenting, actually they have fucked up kids. I don't think you trust anyone on parenting but yourself. If your gut, if your discernment, if your intuition says, what's best for my kid right now is that he starts working and starts learning to make a few bucks at 8 years old, I think that's okay. If your gut says, I don't think he's ready, he should wait till he's 18, I think that's fine too. There's no one way or perfect way to parent. Because even if you do exactly everything correctly, the way that you think is perfect, your kid could end up fucked up. You don't know. You don't know what the combination of all these things are. All you can do is do the best. And what the best is listen to your own gut intuition and discernment. Because only you know your child. You know, this is something that me and Peter used to say on the podcast on the podcast all the time. If anyone is going to indoctrinate my kid, it's going to be me. Not the school, not their friends, not the government, me. If anyone is going to indoctrinate my kid, it's going to be me. Why? Because it's my kid. It's not your kid. It's not your kid. It's not anyone else to say otherwise. It's mine. And if you think what I'm doing is fucking on my kid, fuck you. It doesn't matter. It's my kid. People and parents need to take more responsibility that it is their kid. Stop trusting other people to raise your kids. It is your kid. Even if you do everything right, it could still end up bad. Doesn't mean that you put someone else, because it doesn't matter. You can't blame anyone else. There is zero blame to give anywhere else. It is 100% your kid, your responsibility. You're the only person to blame. You're the only person that will never get the credit. It doesn't matter. It's yours. It's your responsibility. So if you want your kid to work at 8, make him work at 8. Oh, but the law says, dude, the law isn't your kid's parent. You are. You have final authority over your kid. If you think, hey, my kid's on a line and I got to hit him upside the head, that's your decision. That's your kid. Fuck what the government says. Fuck what everyone else says around you. It is 100% your responsibility to take care of your kid and make the decision for your kid. That's what I believe. I'm sure you heard of these stories of companies like Burger King being busted for hiring 14-year-olds to flip burgers. It happens a lot. If you are a company and like Burger King and you're hiring young kids, that's a separate problem that you have to deal with because our laws and government says you can't do that. Okay. But if you are, there are plenty of ways to give your kids work. You know, maybe Burger King's not the best one because Burger King will get in trouble. You'll get in trouble. Everyone gets in trouble. Don't hit your kids so. Like, I didn't get hit a lot growing up. And I don't think I'm a type of parent that would hit their kid. I don't plan on hitting my kid, but I also have a daughter. At the same time, I've met some kids and I'm thinking like, dude, like that dad needs to hit that kid. That kid needs to get hit. I don't think that's a blanket thing. Again, this is not your kid to decide. Oh, it's child abuse. Like, dude, I know plenty of people that got hit growing up and they needed it. And if they did not get hit growing up, they would have went the wrong way. They are grateful that they got hit because it slapped them straight. So I don't think I am one to judge. You know what I mean? It is your kid. If you think the best parenting for you is to hit your kid sometimes, do it. Who am I to tell you that your way is worse than mine? Brother Matt, what do Koreans think about Afghans? I don't think there is a consensus from Koreans on Afghans, actually. If there is, I don't know. Koreans are, if we're talking about Koreans in Korea are actually inherently very racist. And it's because Korea is one of the most homogenous countries in the world. Something like 98% of Korea is Koreans. It's the most homogenous country in the world. And you can't remain a homogenous country if the country itself is not racist. And it's not a race of we hate people, but you have to be a certain amount of racist. Otherwise, your country of Koreans is no longer a country of Koreans. So Koreans in general are very racist. It is what it is. I think I'm like on the more fair side of racist, meaning that I recognize people for their differences. I will never say that every race is the same because I don't believe that at all. But I don't say I'm better than you. But although I teach my kid that I think that we're better than everyone because you have to. It's like a weird kind of line you have to walk. But I don't know if there is a specific consensus of Koreans about Afghans. It's not something that I've seen come up in conversation often. But when I go to Korea, I will ask, what do you guys think about Afghans? How about that? If you hit your kid, you better make sure they are actually wrong. I agree. I am against hitting out of anger. I think that hitting out of anger sets a bad precedent because it doesn't teach kids about punishment. It doesn't teach kids about repercussion. It teaches kids that an anger violence is a solution. So I'm very against hitting out of anger. Again, your decision. Do what you want. My personal belief. I don't like the idea of hitting out of anger. I think it is best when hitting is in a calm and calculated manner because it teaches that it is a repercussion, it is a penalty, that it is a punishment versus I'm doing it because I'm mad at you. I think differentiating that clearly would be very helpful as a parent. That's my belief. Again, do what you want. That's how I do it. Yeah. You also better make sure you're not being a hypocrite. Also break sure. Yeah. I agree. I think that you don't want to be a hypocrite, and that's why I don't lie. I don't want my daughter to lie. That's why I try to think logically. That's why I try to use my words at home. For example, if my daughter says to me, "Oh, I want this over there. Can you get that for me, Daddy?" I know she's talking about this. I know she's talking about the water bottle. I will not get it for her. Honey, what do you want me to get? Oh, that. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. You cannot say that. I don't know what that is. You can say, Dad, can I have the water bottle on the table? And I will know exactly what you're talking about. But if you point and say this, that, I have no idea what you're saying. And we will not allow it. And I will not get it for you, nor will I respond to you, other than me explaining this. So I'm very particular in how she uses her words. And I am very careful to make sure that I am using my words properly as well. So when she says, "Oh, I want to eat this," I'm like, "Honey, use your words. I don't know what this is." Speaking of Korea, what do you think of the conspiracy that reunification would grant North Korea with the capital to start acting on their desires? I don't think there is any real sincere conspiracy about any reunification anytime soon. Actually, I believe North Korea just removed it from their constitution that reunification is off the table for them. There is not a huge desire from either side to reunify. But I will find out. I'm going to go find two people who are involved in reunification, and we will see if we get more information. So I will refrain from answering that question until I have a little more context. And because I'm going in a couple of days, hopefully within a week, I'll have a lot of context. I have a Korean friend who can't stand Chinese people, calls them dirty. It's hilarious. I think Chinese people are interesting. And because 15 years ago, Chinese people actually used to be pretty dirty. There used to be a lot less order. For example, I was in China 2000. I've been to China like 5 or 6 times. The first time I was in China, I think it was maybe 2007. something around that time, what, 20 years ago. And in this time in China, the Chinese did not have a concept of line. So if you go somewhere, there was no cultural norm of standing in line. So people would just bum rush every entrance. It was chaotic, actually. So I'm at the airport, I'm trying to fly, and in America, if you're about to get on a plane, you get in line. In China, because there's no concept of line at that time, everyone just bum rushes. It's a fucking cluster. Chinese people everywhere trying to get into a doorway. It's horrible, horrible. That was 20 years ago. But the Chinese government and the population realized that these social norms that the rest of the world has that they don't have are embarrassing, that it makes them seem dirty, it makes them seem unorganized, that is not a good look for their country, and they have figured out ways to publicly shame those that are being rowdy and that don't do these kind of social norms that the rest of the world has accepted. And they have figured out how to correct themselves, and they are actually much more organized and much more clean than they once were. So they are not as bad as they were. Actually, they're much better. Actually, amongst Asian countries, they're one of the most well-behaved now. But they were the worst for a very long time. It was horrible, actually. Even in place like in Atlanta, where there's a lot of Chinese people, they were pretty bad when they first got here, say 20 years ago. Now, you actually don't notice them that much. So I think cultures do change. I think it's interesting how fast China has adapted and adjusted to kind of this new world kind of norm. I think that's interesting, actually. Yeah, get rid of you. You're annoying. Got rid of the spammer. Sorry, I got it. I got it. Chinese countryside is so different compared to cities. Very rural to super tech metropolis. Yeah, the China rural area is really rural. It is very poor, extremely rural. It is like going back 50 years in life still. Actually, in Korea also, if you go into the rural areas, it's like going in a time machine 50 years back. It is very backwards. And then you go to the major cities, and they're so advanced, so metropolis. It's just different. North Korea still has enough children to preserve the Korean people. I used to think about and worry about this whole birth rate problem a lot. Actually, I was like, oh, because I bought into this idea of, oh, the birth rate problem is so bad that Korea is going to cease to exist. And I believed that for a while, actually. And then one day I started thinking around. I started doing some math. And so my parents' generation, so the generation born in the 50s, they had children at a rate of average like 5 or 6 children per family, maybe even more. My dad has 7 brothers and sisters. So we had a generation after the Korean War that tried to overcorrect population by having so many children. And it created a situation where the older generation is so top heavy with people. And actually, because of that, a lot of the cities are overpopulated. I think that this having less children in Korea is actually rebalancing because it was so many people. I think it's like 50 million people in Korea. It's a tiny place the size of New Jersey. Probably the ideal number for number of people in Korea is like 30 million. So it doesn't need to replace at an even rate. They just need a solution for what happens to the economy. But as far as people goes, if they can normalize at 30 million people and then sustain that, actually that's sustainable. That's fine. So I am less concerned about this birth rate problem as it once was because there's just too many people. I'm not saying you need to depopulate because I would never say that, but it's already happening. Where will Matt leave? I am going to Korea in 2 days. And we will stream from there, and we will talk about it from there, and we will see what happens. Their norms are horrifying. Oh, Douglas, how are you, brother? Our resident Korean American communist, which is like fascinating, super smart, and interesting to watch. Although I disagree with like 50% of what you say, Doug. 50%. The other 50% I find very interesting, and I feel like I learn something new every time. But I disagree. But I also agree. Does that make sense? I am not pro-communism at all. I think communism as a theology makes sense. Right? Like, if you really think about it, I live my life individually in a very communist way. What I own, my wife owns. What I own, my daughter owns. Our family owns what I own. I share everything equally. Everyone owns everything. And we are responsible to do our individual parts. And it doesn't matter who made it because we all contribute. It's very kind of communist-ish in nature. I don't want the government to do that for me because I don't trust the government. And I think that it is ripe for corruption. And I've yet to see the government or a structure where that would actually work in practice. So maybe one day if I ever see a system where it works, I'd be more interested in the idea, but I've never seen it work at scale properly before, if that makes sense. So it's not that I think it is impossible, but what I do think is that it is ideologically more utopian than it actual is practical, if that makes sense. Yeah, communism is cool in private sector, horrible as a form of government. Yeah, I would like to see a real country at scale do it, prove it, and do it well to a degree where I'm like, okay. There's some actual validity to that. I do not want to be a part of the country or the society that experiments with it. You know what I mean? I wish we would let other people try it, actually. Like, let it go. I don't know why the United States like, oh, they're communists, so we got to remove them. Dude, let one of them do it. I want to see how it works. China is there. That says that's what China is doing, bro. China is not fully communist. You know that, I know that. They're not fully communist. They aspire to be communist, but they are not fully there yet. We have no idea what it looks like when they actually become communist. But we know that they aspire to be, but how far they are from actually doing it, no idea. Because as much as they say they want to be communist, they are very capitalist also. Extremely. Actually, the only thing that matters to people in China is money and individual wealth and money. So as a political system, they say they aspire to be communist. But in practice, they are actually more capitalist than they are communist. Chinese businessmen are more capitalist than they are communist, for sure. Because communism is a final stage. I agree. As a party talking line, they say that their goal is communism. I get that. But in practice, amongst the leaders, amongst the people that run the business, they are not. And you say you need capitalist stage of development. I agree. But there's also no saying that once they get past the capitalist stage, that will say, oh, do you know what? Now that we've gotten so far into capitalism, we're going to revert to communism, or that was our goal a long time. Just kidding. I don't see it. I know a ton of Chinese businessmen. They are capitalists, 100%. And they buy, because people are like, oh, Chinese are buying up houses in America because Communist Party. No. Chinese businessmen buy land in America because they cannot own land in China, and their goal and their desire is to own land because they are capitalists. Most Chinese businessmen are capitalists. That's why they come to America. That's why they buy houses. That's why they buy land. That's why they buy cars, because they want to protect their interest and their desire into capitalism. And by the way, I am not overly pro-capitalism either, because I don't think that America is a true capitalist society. A true capitalist society assumes or operates under the premise that we have a fair and free economy. But our economy is neither. It is definitely not fair, because if it was fair, it would be one set of rules for everybody. But we do not have one set of rules in this country, in this economy. There is clearly two sets of rules, one rule for them, one rule for us. So we don't actually live in a fully capitalist society either. I would also like to see what a country would look like under a true capitalist society. Because these are the two extreme ideologies that are always like arguing. And we have never actually lived under the true form of either. America is corporatism with socialism for the wealthy. Yeah, America is not fully free. It is not fully democratic. It is people always, oh, it's socialism. America is very socialist, actually. We have, the state owns everything. The state decides what can be built, what cannot be built. These data centers that are being built, it's your tax dollars that are building them. You never had a say to do it. You are funding them. We're definitely not a capitalist country. We've never been. We have a hybrid capitalist, fascist, communist system here. Socialist also. It is not any of them. You know, we are not fully capitalist and we are not fully democratic. And then they keep on saying that we are. It's almost like if we tell you this ideal that you'll believe it, and then therefore, like, we can say, you know, look, we have something else we're fighting for. It's all control mechanisms. The whole point of it is control. We are so far from capitalism, and if we had socialism, it would be corrupted too. I would argue we are closer to socialism than we are to capitalism. I'm getting itchy. All right. I'm getting itchy now. You know, like, this part, like, you can't get into, and it gets itchy and all of this. I'm going to wrap it up. I am going to Korea in a day. I don't know where the journey will take us, but we will take everyone along for the ride. It should be fun. It should be interesting. You get to see how the rest of the world is. And yeah, I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. We're going to go experience and see what the whole world is like. I think it'd be different to see the United States from a different perspective. And we don't know what it looks like yet, but we're about to find out. Thank you for being around for the night. Thank you for listening to my madman rambles. And SARS, appreciate you guys always. And I will see you next time we are live. I will see you, and we will be in Korea. Have a good night, everyone.